Welcome to another episode with the Descartes team here. Today we got Connor Baker and we got Munir Zaidi with me here on the sofa. Guys, do you want to do a brief intro into yourselves?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Connor. I am one of the senior account executives at Descartes across the EMEA team in the routing, mobile and telematics pillar.
Hi, I'm Munir Zaidi. I'm as Connor part of the Descartes fleet team for over 3 years now, maybe, and I've been part of multiple projects around EMEA.
Great, thanks guys. We're just going to have a discussion really regards to machine learning and AI, why it matters in route optimization and where you guys think it can be applied. What are your thoughts? There's a lot of buzz right now around AI, machine learning. We're hearing it out there a lot. What are your thoughts of how that can be applied in route optimization?
Well, so first of all, I think I'm sharing Connor's view on that. Like to have a very pragmatic approach, I would say. Like for me, as technology and AI, machine learning are no exceptions. It is made to support decision making, right? And obviously to improve the operations and the plan. So when it comes to logistics, in reality, the view is how can we use that specific technology to improve on the plan and to improve on delivery management solutions. One of the areas I would say where we see that like bringing a lot of values would be around how can we update the plan to make sure that we minimize the gaps in between actuals and plan operations. So one of the use case could be like stop time, for example, like learning from the previous deliveries within a specific customers, and it mainly happens in B2B businesses, for example, when you may have multiple deliveries within a week for the exact same customers, and as you are going through that plan and executing different orders, you may learn that it takes X amount of time, right, to be delivering that customer. Or it could be different, for example, if Connor is a driver or if I might a driver, I might know that specific customers or I may not that the location, so I may be a little bit more productive than others. So one of the view would be around like stop time and service time. This is where I see a very good business case for AI and machine learning in logistics.
So using that data, harvesting it to support with refinement of the plan moving forward makes sense. Are there any specific markets you guys see that being specifically valuable in, and any specific examples you can give?
I think there's value in it, to be honest with you, in any industry that has a logistics operation, in my opinion. If we take an example here, such as food service, for instance, a lot of the time these businesses are visiting the same customers and they don't really have a holistic view of what's actually happening in the field. They might have telematics again to look at stop data, but then actually measuring that and aggregating it against what they've planned and kind of coming to conclusions and sensible business, I'd say, outlook and validation across what they're planning is quite difficult if they don't have data in the same place. So having something such as machine learning and AI, which we're seeing more of now, actually make suggestions, for instance, or actually notify and be proactive in saying, hey, this stop should be taking, say, 45 minutes over 40 minutes, can create massive efficiency if you're actually planning there more accurately as well too.
One other market maybe could be building supplies, where we see there are a lot of, I would say, like issues or challenges around the coordinates where you have to deliver, especially when it goes to construction sites, right? So one of the things could be interesting is to get to understand, what are the exact points where you need to deliver, especially when the address is incomplete, and that happens a lot when it comes to new buildings or new areas. So one of the other things is learning around where do I have to drop that specific order, and that has a very big impact when it comes to construction buildings, because it takes a lot of time for you to unload the trucks. It takes a lot of time as well for your customers to get ready. So that has apart from the stop time, another very good point for machine learning and AI.
Okay, makes sense. And last question for you guys, I guess, what are the core outputs or benefits that you see customers gaining as a result of harvesting that data, using it to update those stop times or those stop locations to refine their plan? What do they get out of that in the long term?
I think accurate planning, has a number of impacts off of the back of it. It really depends on what, I guess, the problem is really in the plan today, for instance. So if we're looking at learning and bettering the plan, that could be anything from utilizing capacity better in terms of resources that are out in the field. So, minimizing the amount of routes being done if you are using too many, for instance, or even just validating things like safety as well out there too. So like in the UK, for instance, you've got the working time directive, making sure that, your drivers are actually not exceeding the time on their routes, for instance, and they're not breaking any of those compliance rules and regulations as well. So those are probably two examples, but what are your thoughts?
I think the view is, when we think about delivery management, like most of the time is spent on planning, right? But you do realize the value during the execution, right? So you may have a very nice plan in theory, but in practice, that's completely different, right? And it happens a lot in terms of mile driven or stop time. So the view that you can get from AI and machine learning is that you make sure that your plan is made out of, I would say, more realistic data, right? The view is not to have the best plan, or like the best plan is the more realistic one, right? You want to minimize the gap in between what you forecasted and what really happens, I would say, what executing that plan. So actual versus plan, making sure that you upgrade the plan so like you minimize the gaps and realize the value that you are supposed to.